All right, Chapter 27 P19, base funding of the County Emergency Management Agency Emergency Management Cooperative Grant with the Municipal Competitive Grant Program. Definition, limitation, base grant, eligibility, base grant, distribution formula, reallocation, base grant funds, competitive award grant, eligibility, procedure, the edge, awarding competitive grant, selecting criteria for the competitive grant, the disbursement match requirement, and non-compliance. 27 the B19002. The definition, base grant, with the meaning of these other some of the allocated for the formula, the rule 27 of the P19005 of the Florida Administration Code, the allocation of the County Emergency Management Agency. Competitive awards may be the fund with available to award, pursuant to the competitive award process identified by the Rule 27 of the P19007 of the Florida Administration Codes. County Emergency Management Agency means of the one of 67 counties of the emergency management agencies that are authorized to establish and maintain the each of the county pursuant to the statute, Section 25238, Florida Statute, Division means the Division Emergency Management Executive Office of the Government full-time, the Director means the single professional emergency management program, the Administrator of the work of the full-time, the identify the position, description established with the governing body of the jurisdiction, municipality emergency management program, the emergency management program authorized and established the arrangement, the legal counsel of the municipal of Florida at the time of the state mutual aid with agreement with the applied. All of the required information documentation ready to be signed with the division with the date of the application deadline, part-time with coordinating with the professional management of the state of the employee with the demonstrator, the screen with the field of the emergency management with the work of the emergency management capacity have at least 20 hours per week. The clerical shall notify the qualify the part-time coordinator. Review committee meeting with the group of the person will review the competitive grant application. The review committee should give the minimum of 3 person appointed with the director of the division no later than 5 days of the day of the application notified with the federal Florida Administrative of the register with the Florida Emergency Preparedness Association may appoint with the representative of the review of the committee minimum of the total of 4 members of the Florida Administrative Preparedness Association representatives should have the same power with the duty for the other review of the committee members of the abstain with the score application to receive with his or her respect with the county with the include with the municipality down proof the organization located in his or her county from Florida Emergency Preparedness Association meeting of the committee shall be called over the committee chairman who shall designate by secretary match me with the purpose of the group of the programs only contributed with the cashing kind that would meet the following requirements are available with the application official record that not required with the local contribution with any other state and federal assisted programs necessary for the responsible property efficient accomplishment of the emergency management projected objectives specified in the application are allowed with the office management board on budget circular with the A87 and conform with the office management budget circular A102 that is provided approval of the project budget and direction call that has approved of the division with the directly attributed with the project representation and conditional commitment currently available with the contingent only awarded of the grant of the project. The contribution the contribution directly related to the project and the contribution are encountered consistent with the property review for the base of the actual value of the property allowed with the depreciation of the value of the employment, the time of the equipment, of the rental claim of the property management of the must be identified with the proposed project with the records supporting with the treatment of the contribution proposed management maintained with the made available the proper and public inspection must be furnished with the proposal trust fund with the emergency management prepared and assisting with the trust fund established pursuant to section 1 of chapter 93 128 of the laws of the Florida population mean with the number of the Florida estimated population published annual with the population division bureau economic business research of the University of Florida. 12 recipient meaning with the application with the offer that was accepted with the award of the division project being for the purpose of the grant the meaning of the specifically defined and described the activity undertaken with the further state of the local comprehensive the emergency management plan included but unlimited preparedness response recovery hazards mitigation activity priorities identified with the funding availability every project is defined and described with the provided the program application pack with the project does not include the financial support with the requiring staff needs administrative expense for the purpose of the competitive grant programs only mean with the direct help of the staff managing program project with other direct help of the programs as well the applicant indirect rate with anything with the with the direct help of the management no more than 5% of the total emergency management prepared assistant program funds awarded through the project may be the administrator of the office identified therein. Applicant meaning for the purpose of the competitive the grants overlaying the state of Florida state of the regional and planning agency for the Florida local government any private non-profit organization provided by the emergency management service within the state of Florida proposing pursuant to the rule of the project with further state local emergency management object with the pursuant of the provision of the program the applicant cycle with the meaning for the purpose of the competitive with the grants only with the period begin with the public game with the notice of funds availability with the competitive grants purpose of the with the rule of the federal Florida administration register for the ending of the award allocation of the awards that include with the resolution of the administrative procedure that can be more than more than one application cycle during a single official year. Your local government means any county, municipal, or other public subdivision, state, ordered by a non-profit organization, purpose of the grant with the non-government entity that is formally constituted with the authorized to do the business of the state of Florida, historic, provide the emergency management service of the state of Florida currently, in effect of the ruling letter of the U.S. Internal Revenue Service with the granting tax with exemption with the Section 501 CD and even the Internal Revenue Code, the evidence to demonstrate the applicant may be the definition may be supplied by the applicant. 19 Regional Planning Agency with the Regional Planning Council with the grade with the pursuant of Section 186.501, 186 through 186.515. Through the consent of the responsibility Section 186.0 to 1860031, 18600 to 901 with a particular regional state. State agency means if it's a separate agency for the floor state with the government, with the local government, created with the established level, include the official wildlife conservation commission for the water management district with the Department of Military Affairs program, purchase for the competitive grants, the programs only with emergency management program, the specific trust fund competitive grants, the application purchase for the competitive grant program only move the original 15 pages summary with the submitted before the push in the applicable deadline will consist of the transmittal letter signed with the title page for the table that contains the criteria of the narrative of the proposed budget. Only proposal for the budget for the competitive grant programs must be completely presented and presentation included with attachment things items reference to the identified original application receipt of the notice if they have the receipt of the award must submit with a complete proposal of the identified document for the specific time frame to be sent by the division emergency management. The project item of the approve of the competitive grant program with only mean the items identified within the proposed application submission for the division of the emergency management demonstrate the use of the project complete with a complete listing of the applicable list items must be submitted with the proposed identified in the statute 27P 19 002 for 24 or 25 timeline for the purpose of the grant program with only mean with the document outline with the schedule of the task application and perform the complete with the project identified with the proposed application in 12-month contract period with the criteria the critical fear facility the proposed with the competitive grant programs only with the Public Hurricane Act, evacuation, shelter emergency operation centers, structured fire station, rescue operation, law enforcement facilities, hospital, public work facilities, any similar disaster response facility, ARC 4496 for the purpose of the grant program, the only publication of American Red Cross, titled the Standard Hurricane Evacuation Shelter Selection and a Ruling Economic Development Initiative, the reduction waiver for the purpose of the competitive grant program with the Marine for the reduction waiver to identify the notice of funds available to publish with the federal Florida Administrative Register file matching requirement of section pursuant to Section 2880656 2B Florida State Statute. Part 27 1903 limitation of the amount available to the fund with the trust allocation for each year subject to the annual appropriation with the legislature of the amount of the funds available to pursue the rule capital must be adjusted proportional and necessary to meet any of the matching requirements of the condition for the receipt of the federal disaster relief of the system planning fund with the event with the need of the right of proportional adjusting the funds available to pursue the rule of the division should notify that assume that the practical law affected any of the need to implement the proportional adjustment, but thereafter in effect the receive the expenditure of the fund with the necessary proportional adjustment, the authorized legislator and the fund to be able to receive with the trust fund the division provide funds up to the amount where they reduce the previous proportional adjustment. Those entities funding will be decreased to provide previous proportional adjustment. Funds received with emergency management preparedness assistance of the trust fund may not be used to supplement existing funding shall not fund with the one program of the trust fund used to be used with the match funds received with another program under the trust fund. All percentage of the use of the rule would apply with the amount with appropriated after the deletion. Any sort of charge would apply with the trust fund. Relate the competitive grant program they only no more than 5% of the award pursuant to this rule the use of administrative expenses. Alright, an applicant is not complying with the terms of the prior award with the eligible award after additional awards is filled to issue with the issue of non-compliance complying with the term of the prior award. 27P 1904 base grant eligible to receive the base grant of the county emergency management agency shall annually commit with the employee to maintain with the full-time director, part-time coordinator consistent with subsection 27P 19005 and 4 and 5 of the Florida administration. Counties per population 75,000 or more shall have the full-time director in order to qualify the allocation. County is pursuant to the less than 75,000 which are priority parties in jurisdictional emergency management agreement and pursuant to section 238.3b the Florida State Statute shall have the emergency management coordinator with the work at least 20 hours a week with the capacity full-time director to order the qualify the allocation. 27P 1905 base grant distribution fund formula. The base grant shall be awarded with the county for the benefit of the county emergency management agency fund shall be allocated to implement the administrative of the county of the emergency management, including the management administrative, the training operation, allocation subject for the pertainment of the legislative operation. Base grant money for the main designated for the retainment of the division in order to confer the operational costs for the associated with the each of the county the connection serve the statewide communications system with the administrative of the coordinator with the division for each of the county amount shall not exceed the individual cost of the communication link with the funds for the identified with the following with the grant allocation of the funds retained with the division identified with the each of the county emergency management agency. The county emergency agent full-time director shall receive the basic grant allocation based on the amount available to the sections subsection 27 of the P 190052 for the Florida administration goes by 67 by 67 the minus amount with the determine each kind of subsection 27 of the P 190053 with the Florida administration counts each of the county emergency management agency the part-time coordinator shall review the base allocation based on the amount of the available to the section subsection 27 of the P 190052 with the Florida administration code divided into 67 the multiplied by the 65% minus the amount determined each of the so each county with the subsection 27 of the P 190053 Florida administration codes. Alright, 6 all base allocations shall be made with the contingent the county, the commitment, the accomplishment of the scope of the work identified by the division each year of the such commitment within by the agreement of the grant agreement executed between the county and the division grant agreement that both shall provide the reimbursement couple the fixed amount of the award failure to agree with the execute with the comply the term of the grant agreement with the county with the non-compliance. All right, 27P 190006 reallocation of grant-based grant fund for the funds for the available to 27P 190052 for the Florida Administration Code down under the subsection 27P 190004 and 5 of the Florida Administration Code the division prior to the October 1st each of the reallocation of the county emergency management agency. 25% of the funds identified in subsection 27P 190061 for the shall be divided equally among the county for the participating state mutual aid with agreement with the January 1st each of the year of the state mutual aid agreement submitted for the approved with the division 75% of the funds identified for the subsection 27P 190061 divided proportionally among the participating county emergency management agency based on each of the county population. Should any base grant that were originally allocated with the subsection 27P 190005 of the War and 5 of the Florida Administration Code, the upsend with the annual close out with each of the base grant with the redistributed account with the respect all year for the award plus carried out with the Florida amount of the previous award for the purpose of the rule with the county with the reverse to 250 hours or left of the conservative they have then spent all of its award. The purpose of the rule that is approved with the division to carry the after the award being redistributed to the next award year with the conservative have been spent with the fund with the identify the redistribution reallocate the division core subsection 2 and 3 of the rule 25% based on mutual aid percent participation 75% based on population redistributed funds will be made available to eligible county students possible this division close out activities have been completed with minimum total revision amount shall be the threshold of the initiate the redistribution process amount equal to 1% of the total initial allocation for the year being distributed. Our 27P 1907 the competitive awards eligibility requiring competitive agreement that made with the state, regional, local government, nonprofit organization, emergency management, competitive group, the grant with the emergency management program, the municipal competitive grant group, the municipal emergency management group program means for the emergency management program authorized establish maintain the legal continuous for the municipality of Florida signed with the current state mutual aid agreement to supply with the required information for the documentation ready to be signed with the division of the day of the application deadline. Award shall be disbursed with the pursuit of the procedure for the step forth in Rule 27B 1908 Florida Administration Code funds allocated with the grant that implemented the project further state local emergency management object with the fund for the identify with the board for the municipal emergency management program of the municipal competitive grant program of the board of the state regional local government nonprofit organization emergency management competitive group grant all allocations of the job of the local operation of the municipal competitive grant program of the municipal emergency management group program may apply with one with the competitive grant with the maximum award amount will be established with the division of the notice of the funds available to public and Florida Administrative Register. The joint application of the two or more municipal shall be permitted, however, the total award for the municipal application shall be limited to the amount of the established annual division notice of the program and available published to federal administrative grant with the emergency management competitive grant shall the eligible applicants may submit the multiple applications, but however, no single application shall receive an award except for the amount of the established for the division of the notice of the fund availability published federal Florida Administrative Register. All applicants and eligible applicant exemption for the county shall not no limited to more than 3 application submission for the application cycle. The division shall administer the grants once awarded the allocation funding may be submitted to the division proper defined in the section 27B 1902-124 Florida Administration Code shall be about the grant agreement that shall be contingent with the upon commitment of the performance scope of the work and identify the division scope of the work shall be based on the project and identify the grant applicant the grant shall be provided the reimbursement count the fixed amount of the award failure to degree exceed the comply with the term of the grant agreement shall constitute the complying with the funds not allocated with the rule of the participant of the emergency management competitive grants program described in 27B 190092 shall be retained in the trust fund. Or 27/19/0008 procedure for the awarding competitive grants. Eligible applicant to certifying may apply with the competitive grant shall submit the applicant division with the deadline itself of the division of the notice of fund of the availability for the administrative register shall the notice be published within 60 days of the application deadline date with the designated for the priority job project shall designate location submission for the application municipalities applying the competitive grant with the municipality competitive with the grant program must meet applicable eligible criteria rule 27/19/007 Florida Administration Codes. Alright, application for the competitive award shall include the statement of the county emergency management agency that describes the extent of the project with the consistent with the comprehensive emergency management plan copy of the application letter where requesting statement that include the application shall supply with the description project of the applicant community emergency management agency with at least 30 days for the provided deadline submitted with the application of emergency management agency shall make the determination of the project, all of the address of the issue, the relevant project with the duplication, existing capability of the actual emergency management agency, determine with the project consisting with the inconsistent, unable to consistency, the determinate for any reason, if they and shall provide with a written explanation of the division the county fails to respond to any of the application timely submit the recovery of the statement, the inclusion of the date of the copy of the projection, the description letter of the application. The application should be considered the applicable comprehensive the emergency management plan with the county consistency. Determination consider the review of the committee provide at least 30 days before the deadline for the retraining preliminary source of the resulting rank of the failures of the project description of the county emergency management agency lift 30 days with the deadline with the submitting application result with no award of the points for the contingency local government plan objectives. 4.3 the division hereby adopt the reference for the emergency plan preparedness assistant of the trust fund with the grant program application packet number 008 of July 2005 with the instruction of the information necessary for the submission application for the competitive grant form submitted with the pursuant 27 19.008 Florida Administration Code. The applicant may be obtained with the website Florida Disaster Org from the Division of Emergency Management 255 Valley Street, Oak Boulevard, Tallahassee, Florida 3299110 EMPTAF for program the request to show the specified with the grant program application packet. All applications conform to the following requirements shall be reviewed with the technical form in accordance with the following procedure. All applications here with the format specified in the applicant form number 008 July 2005 edition. Revisions version of the application will leave the accurate legal eligible submitted. The applicant must review the preliminary technical review of the application submitted. The application no later than 21 days after the published application deadline. Preliminary technical review with the limited signature authority. Technical form and the instruction of the application pack with the other technical form. No application score with the otherwise evaluated current preliminary technical review. The division will inform the applicant with the technical deficiency application, telephone, email, fast mail no later than 10 days over the advance of the published application, with the given the applicant an opportunity to rectify them before the deadline. All applicants submitted no later than 4 p.m. the Eastern time of the day of the published application deadline, except the paragraph of the E with this rule of the applicant may be amended, added, otherwise modified at 4 p.m. on the day of the published application deadline, other than provided with the clarifying information requested the division. Her division informed the applicant with the telephone, email, with the FS submitted with no later than 5 days of the published application for the deadline, with the intent with the reject with the application for the provided evidence for the signature of the authority application for the technical non-compliance instruction application package of the non-compliance to the technical requirement of the non-abstaining with the revision contrary elsewhere with the rule of the chapter application have the 15 days for the day published application deadline with over the next business day therein supplement with the application adequate written division evidence signature authority rectify the other technical deficiencies. Original 5 copy of the application submitted with only with the submit online with 1 copy of the form and itself with the prescribed the applicant packet so shall be submitted. Our applicant submitted with the be executed with the chief of the official chairman of the government unless the authority with the delegation with the chief of the officer with the other government official with the endorse the application the evidence for the delegation authority supplied by the applicant with the government entity does not have the governing of the chief elected official with the application shall be executed with the chief of the administrative office the evidence of his or her authority to be governed the government entity with the supply with the application the applicant with the government entity then the applicant should be executed with the governing board. If there is no governing board, the applicant should be executed with the chief of the applicant with the transmitted online with the resident no later than 3 days before the published application deadline. Hard copy of the title page for the original authorized signature must be submitted by mail. Must receive the division to the posted by the applicant deadline. Applicants must be rejected if the applicant have been found engaged with other actions misrepresenting the facts in connection with the application. The application previously found engaged with fraudulent action misrepresentation 3 years notice funded availability. Application is not submitted according to the application packet accompanying with the provided division achieved with the required threshold and does not have the otherwise complied rule of the chapter. The project consistent of the purpose of the program does not conform to the applicant requirements of the rule of chapter. And this applicant received at 4 p.m. in the Eastern time of the notice applicant for the deadline with the applicant of the has been notified of the non-compliant with the term of the condition of any of the contractual agreements of the administrative division applicant is ineligible. Alright, so 27 of the 1909 selection criteria with the grant the review of the committee review of the application received the notice of the application deadline comply with the application procedure requirement set forth with the rule of the application even not received the notice of the application deadline does not comply with the application proceed with the requirement set forth the rule was rejected received the means delivered by hand certified mail electronically transmitted disc or online and courier location designated with the notice of filing and available no later 4 p.m. Eastern time on the final day of the application period. Fast mail transmission shall not be accepted. The application should be scored with the review of the committee with the committee with the independently with the score of the total of the average of the area of the committee with the available with the score of the area of the preliminary score of the resulting rank of the preliminary score of the resulting rank should be prepared with each category based on the total number of the points that they earned with over the height of the number of the points during the prior with your funding. The review of the committee 75 day of the application day of the dead date must be preliminary score of the resulting rank for the Division of Emergency Management website Florida Disaster.org. Upon the determination final score of the resulting rank posted to the Division of Emergency Management website of Florida Disaster.org. Funds for the should be office with the applicant oversight overall high score of the applicant the next overall high score. So on until the funds have been offered to accept the eligible applicants for but the insufficient funds remain to fund the eligible project. The division may offer the full and fund all part of the project or all or part amount requested in an application. Application should be given in 20 days except for the proposed award written over the accepted and delivered to division official designated the notice of award along with the complete and proposal revised budget timeline with listed project item within the event of the application filed with the projected proposed awarded for the emergency management comprehensive the grant for the municipal competitive grant with specified time that funds offered to revert their trust funds. The review of the committee with the other division staff with the other state regional and local governors that have not applied with the funded professional consultant with the reviewing application event with the time of the review of the committee with the first priority application provided the large amount of the cash match or the other fund with the project in time result of the evidence of this shall be given in accordance with Section 18, Chapter 92, 132 of the law of the Florida project is exclusively located with the performance of the county of the municipality has adversely affected with the environmental cleanup initiative of the conduct of the state located with the front porch community. 5. Applications will be accepted with 4 separate categories where the municipality is not applying with the own funding of the same of the project with the funding of the available the emergency management cooperative competitive the grant program the funding available to the municipality competitive the grant. Each application must designate only one of the categories noted for the value of the designated category underlay with the proposed project resolve the rejection application. The issue number of application received the maximum score of the received at least one application defined to each of the category. The categories are project for promoted public education, the disaster preparedness recovery issue, enhanced coordination relief efforts of the statewide private sector organization, including the public-private business partnership effort. The project can improve the training operating with capabilities of the agency. These assignment list to lead support responsibly for the state comprehensive emergency management plan. Other projects further state local emergency management for the same of the priorities available notice for fund availability. Applicants should be awarded point for the rank U for the fund criteria accepted the proposed project consider the further state comprehensive emergency management plan and applicable local comprehensive emergency management plan or plans maximum score 100 points for proposed project method and approach the maximum score 100 points amount eligible supply by the applicant proposed project maximum 50 points for the experience eligible apply with the project for the maximum 25 points. All right, immediate tangible emergency management benefits of the short term less than 12 months of the duration, long-term management benefit to comply with the coupled with available resource for the continuous implementation project proposed to determine the awarded long-term project for duration 12 months or longer. And for the emergency management organization targeted population of the emergency plan with need to directly benefit of the project if the apple with the maximum score 75 points. Extend the wisdom proposed the draft of the demonstrated emergency management needs maximum 50 points. Extend the proposed project the draft of the emergency management priorities identified with the notice of the fundability maximum score 100 points. Those projects only available. The applications made in the paragraph 2017-19-009 5D Florida Administration Codes. Points shall be awarded the basis of the evidence contained in the application. No points shall be based upon information not contained in the application. Application shall apply the proper application of the information desired for the evaluation of the award of the points. Regardless of the competitive ranking application does not score 300 points or less, it shall be does not score at least 300 points shall be ineligible for funding. All right, your 2017-19-10. This is the amount of the funds estimate of the base group, the base grant with the competitive award allocation over the proposed part of each of the grant cycle. The base grant awards provided under the rule for the award of the county commissioner competitive awards shall be offered accepted by the chief of the executive office approved the governing body of the local government. Funds disbursed for the chief of the cooperative award of the division not expected to independently implement the project for return of the division. The interest earned over the funding within 90 days of the expiration of the award of the agreement. If the recipient succeed with acquiring product with the shipment of less than the amount budget amount within notify the division request the authorization to apply with the unexpected funds of the project and therefore the proposed use of the unexpected funds if the unexpected funds can be applied with the enhanced project for the acquisition of additional equipment of the services provided the same for the approved project, then the division may have the approved the division may approve the use of the unexpected fund, but the over budgeting will result in the diminishing of the scope of the project. Each recipient may receive the trust of the division quarterly basis of the submit of the report. The report shall provide the form with include with the grant agreement the submit with the particular information required with the grant in the division prior to the date of the report with the term of the competitive grant is set forth with the grant agreement the subject with the limitations imposed by applicable legislative appropriation and extension that shall be given in section 28705 7 and 11 Florida State statute. However, the trust fund is the outcome of the financial audit performed in accordance with section 216-349 Florida State statute report of the audit forward to division 60 days of the completion. Upon request of the accompanying the documentation detail of the explanation of circumstances justified any no later than March 31st of each of the year, based on the grant recipient receive the trust fund of the master carry forward of the 25% of the single of the year of the grant award with the next fiscal year, but the purpose of the rule must be amount of proof of the division carry forward with the award of the year of the next award to be considered to have the spend of the base grant recipient established with separate pay account code, interest bearing account proof care of the forward fund with the most annual report of the use of the fund balance of division recipient of the annual base grant closed out with the report until the funds expand with the recipient should comply with the applicable procurement rules, regulations, securing with the goods, and implement the proposed project for the purpose of the competitive grant program. The petition and identify the applicable procurement rule of the regulations saying that you the entire progress report of the division following notice award recipient shall establish a separate account code with the bearing account with the tracking all deposits expenditures interest pertaining to the award with a separate account with the code with the establishment of each award received. The division shall be permitted to inspect the mining record for the facility with the fund with the project awards. The recipient in such inspection may cover the reasonable time of the pursuing with the normal business hours Monday through Friday. The division shall receive the type of the information, time, and format of the projected information report with the grant agreement in event of the determination and additional report that necessary for the demonstrate they comply with the rule chapter determine the agreement the grant recipient shall supply with the said report fail to meet the requirements for regulated reporting so constitute no compliance non-compliance. All costs determined in accordance with the applicable federal office of the management budget circular within the event of no circular applies. Title 48 CFR Part 31 contract costs, rentals, and procedures. All right, almost done now. 27B 1901 matching requirements base grant the match with the amount of the equal to the average of the previous 3 years level over the county grant general review everything come funding with the county emergency management agency level of the county emergency management agency last fiscal year with which the figures lower the general county general revenue with 901 service the emergency medical service law enforcement criminal justice public works and other service outside of the emergency management responsibility assigned with the county emergency management agency section 252A3 Florida State statute conducts not include with the determined level of the county funding with the county emergency management agency. Each county shall certify the compliance with the rules, chapter the rule of the conditions precedent and the fundings. If the base grant recipient demonstrates the exemption with the first circumstance of the prevent the base grant recipient complying with the national requirement is 27B 1911 and 1 of the Florida administration bans grant recipients may request division authorize the reduction of the amount of the most record the much for the required review of the percent of the amount except for the excess of the reduction of the funding with the 911 services of the emergency medical services if the law enforcement criminal justice for the public works emergency management related service the eligible reduction based grant recipient demonstrate the certified of the reduction county general revenue funding of the amount of the requested reduction equivalent with the board reduction of the all county board budgets. County equivalent the reduction signed with the county chief of the officer with the certificate reduction of the county budget funding shall be signed with the county chief of the financial officer request certified with the intent of the pre-reduce the funding with the practical shall provide with the estimate of the date of the county will with the current level of funding. The request of the reduction shall come with the financial date of the previous 3 years for concluding the level of the county funding with the county emergency management agency budget for the details regarding the individual items of the county emergency management agency proposed level of funding with all budgets. Item of the reduction authorizing division all requirement must be a massive division. Match reduction shall be submitted no later than 45 days after the county budget approved with the governing body jurisdiction. Opportunity for the request shall be waived. Part 27 1914 not complying with the recipient failed to comply with any of the term condition act with the war with the rules chapter any of the term condition include but not limited to the federal state law of the rules regulation act with the other funding administrated by the division take one of the following actions to indicate the attendant circumstances temporarily withhold cash payment depending on the correction deficiency disallow all of the parts of the activity action non-compliance suspend the terminate the award disallow the future participation with the program funding to provide with the under this rule of the chapter recovery all of the funding with the under of the current award call for the recipient result of the obligation incurred with the recipient during the suspension and after the termination of the award of the down allowable unless the division determines the recipient of the substantial comply with the knowingly violated all requirements of thereafter authorized for the cost of writing of the recipient the cost during the suspension of the termination necessary for the not reasonable allowable if the cost result of the obligation properly incurred with the recipient before the effective date of the suspension of the termination on anticipation of the suspension and termination with the gave of the termination are not cancelable with the cost allowable to the award of the suspended expired normally of the end of the period which the termination occur when which the termination occurred with the recipient the termination grant shall be obligated to provide all the required closeout information. Event of the audit determined by the cost of the reimbursement otherwise fund of the rules of the chapter should be disallowed by the recipient return so disallowed funds of the division alternatively the division may offset the disallowed amount against any of the current future award recipients. And that was the one skipped but it's done now we're 27P 19 base funding county emergency management agency emergency management competitive grant program municipal competitive grant program rule. Darn, I screwed up there.